All right, so let's talk about the Smith Maneuver today. If you're not familiar with it, then this video is for you. It's basically taking the equity out of your home and using it to invest. And that's the key part, you're investing with it. A lot of people already take equity out of their homes through refinancing. The difference is with refinancing, there are a lot of fees that come with it. You're breaking the mortgage, so there's a penalty with that. There are appraisal fees and whatnot. So most people would only refinance once. The Smith Maneuver is a revolving home equity line of credit, or a HELOC. It's a feature built into the mortgage so that you can withdraw money as you please and pay it back anytime you want. The only fee is the interest that you're paying on the amount you've withdrawn. Most people who plan to use a Smith Maneuver prepare for this. When they're getting their mortgage, they're indicating this to their mortgage rep because it's essentially two products. It's a regular mortgage combined with a HELOC. From BMO, it's called a Homeowners Ready Line. TD calls it a Home Equity Flex Line. Other banks have different names for it, but this is essentially what you're looking to get if you're planning on doing a Smith Maneuver. The main reason people do this is for tax reasons and so that you can start investing even sooner. In Canada, the interest on your mortgage is not tax deductible. And that's unfortunate because it can be hundreds of thousands of dollars over the course of the mortgage. But if you withdraw money from your home and use that money to invest, then that interest is tax deductible. And that's the whole purpose of the Smith Maneuver. So let's say it costs you 3% to withdraw money from your HELOC. The goal then is to use that money to invest it in maybe a rental property, maybe in stock market, but your goal is to have a higher return than the 3% to cover the cost of borrowing. I currently do not have a Smith Maneuver, but I have everything ready to go. I have a HELOC on my mortgage. I have a self-direct trading account at the bank. I even have a pretend portfolio that I monitor. So I'll give you an example of how I was personally thinking of employing the Smith Maneuver with my pretend portfolio. Safe and steady is basically the strategy here. I don't want to take enormous amounts of risk with the equity in my home that I've worked hard to build up. My plan is to basically buy dividend paying stocks. My HELOC would cost me about 2.95% today to borrow from, or basically prime plus 0.5%. So I'm looking for Canadian dividend stocks that pay a higher yield than 2.95. I'm specifically trying to target Canadian dividend companies that have a track record of increasing their dividends every year so that down the road the payout would increase and I would help cover any increase in my interest payments down the road when interest rates aren't so low anymore. So you can see from my pretend portfolio here, if I were to hold this for a year, it would cost me $14.75 in interest expenses. That interest would be deducted from my taxes come tax season. So let's pretend I have a 40% tax rate. That means I would save $590 in taxes. I also would have collected an extra $2,503 in dividends for the year. And if these shares go up in value, then that's a bonus. If I were to do this for the course of the mortgage, down the road I would expect to have a very sizable portfolio. But at the same time, I would also have a very sizable line of credit that I would have to pay off at some point. So I'm faced with two decisions really down the road, and I'm thinking either I keep the line of credit so that I continually have this interest that I can write off, or I sell off some of the investments to pay off the HELOC, and I keep whatever is left afterwards. At least that's how I envision it. Maybe there are different alternatives that I'll employ down the road. One word of caution though, you are using leverage to invest. So when it goes well, you look like a genius. But when it goes poorly, you look like a greedy idiot. Leverage will amplify your losses and amplify your gains. So you really have to know yourself and to have a long investment horizon just to get you through any sort of rough patch. An example of a rough patch would be COVID. If you look at my pretend portfolio, if I started this portfolio a year ago, I would be down today. And if I had a short investment horizon, I'd be selling these at a loss most likely. So obviously, it just goes without saying that If you're going to borrow to invest, you need a higher level of risk tolerance. I highly recommend you talk to somebody who's already using the Smith Maneuver and pick their brain about it, and talk to an accountant about the taxes involved. But I see a lot of benefit with it, and I hope this introduced you to a new idea. Thanks for watching.